The best thing I've found for free motion stitching is machinigers. These are thin gloves with plastic tips that help you grip the fabric. Now mine are pretty worn out and pretty dirty, but a new pair typically costs under $10, and they're a really, really useful addition to your quilting arsenal. When I'm free motioning, I always space my quilt 3 layers, and I use these bent safety pins to secure it. You want to space your safety pins about every 4 to 6 inches apart and make sure that your quilt is pretty firmly basted so that way the layers don't shift. I use an open darning foot. It's got a slight opening, so it's shaped kind of like that. And it's worth the extra money to go on ahead and get yourself a foot that you can easily see your stitches and easily see your needle on. And I just grip the fabric on both sides and I start stitching. I go pretty fast, and mostly I'm just concentrating on loops. You know, basically just large ends, very, very tall ends, or shapes that kind of look like my fingers here, where one loop will come up and then the other loop will kind of come up and around and come back down. As you quilt, you want to keep your jaw and your mouth very, very loose. That helps you, you know, if we're all clenched up like this, you really can't, it shows in your quilting, it doesn't work as well. So I'm just drawing. I mean, it's really just drawing with your needle. I find that it's always easier to work from left to right because that's the way that we write, typically on paper, and so that's something that works really, really well for us. I also find that if I back myself into a corner, the best thing to do is to just stop, cut the thread, get back to a place where I feel comfortable. Never worry about cutting your thread. Just make sure that you take several small anchoring stitches in the same place in order to anchor it down so that way your threads won't come out. A lot of people say to practice drawing free motion stitches on a piece of paper first. I think that this is helpful, but that the only way to really learn is to actually do it on a quilt. And this is an example of some much tighter free motion, and this is the loose example of the loose that I'm doing on this quilt. The best way to learn free motion is to make yourself up some very simple Christmas quilts that the recipients will absolutely love, but not judge like a quilting show, and quilt them. Quilt them free motion over the entire surface of the quilt. And I swear, by the time you get done with even a crib size or, twin size quilt, you will have this down. Just give yourself permission to mess up and try it.